Hey everybody, Sam Music Critic here, and in today's video, I am going to be reviewing the new Danny Brown album. You know what I'm saying? Danny Brown, he's a rapper, he's got 5 studio albums, you know what I'm saying being his 5th. Coming after 2016's Atrocity Exhibition. These 2 albums are the only albums I've heard from Danny so far. I should probably get into some of his other albums. And Atrocity Exhibition was kind of what introduced me to him. At first I was kind of indifferent on the album, not too much, but over time, it came to be one of the most experimental, absurd, abstract hip-hop albums I'd heard in my life. The sound was deranged, the sound was just psychotic at times. It was just so boundary-pushing and experimental that it's probably one of my favorite hip-hop albums ever. The rapping was deranged and psychotic. The production was absolutely stunning. It was just fantastic, and seeing as this album was announced, I was hyped because it's a Danny Brown album. What more could you ask for? My overall view on the album, it's not as experimental as Atrocity Exhibition was, but that doesn't necessarily make it bad at all, and I'll get onto that. It's also Danny's shortest album to date, clocking at only 33 minutes and 11 tracks, and this makes it a whole lot more solid and compacted compared to some of his other albums. And the sound is still quite abstract and experimental. I mean, it's not like he, just went into basic trap rap or something, because God, that would be a nightmare. He's still got that personality and character that he's always been known for, and his sound hasn't really changed that much. It's just going for a much more traditional style compared to Atrocity Exhibition. And this is kind of where one of my main points comes in, where honestly, I'd compare this album to Denzel Curry's most recent album, Zoo, for example. Coming after Taboo, which was his experimental trap rap magnum opus. I mean, it wasn't like crazy experimental, but it was pretty boundary pushing for the trap rap genre, and also incredibly solid and well produced. And Zoo was a much more traditional and compacted album compared to that one. It wasn't really shooting for anything experimental, it was just a fun album to chill and relax and bang your head to. And it works. There are so many bangers on there, and there's even, a mix of some of his more experimental elements, like on Birds or P.A.T. And I guess the same could be said with You Know What I'm Saying. It's still got an experimental edge. And compared to Denzel Curry, where he's probably going to follow this one up with something even bigger than Taboo, maybe. It's my theory. I guess what he's called it is a stand-up comedy album, and I can definitely see how that works. The sound is more traditional than some of his others, and I guess it's just, your typical Danny Brown album. And I don't say that like it's a bad thing. I guess I say that like it's more of, I guess it's Danny Brown's most focused sound yet. I don't really know how to explain it, but that's all I'd say. I'd just say it's very similar to Denzel Curry's Zoo in that it's a less experimental turn from their experimental magnum opus, but still carry the same personality and feel that those albums originally did. Anyway, let's go on to the actual album. The production is super catchy and memorable. It's not too experimental like Atrocity Exhibition, but I've just gone over that, but it's incredible nonetheless. I mean, you've got production credits from Q-Tip, JPEG Mafia, Standing on the Corner, and even Flying Lotus. I really like Flying Lotus. There are so many elements of the production on this album that I just love, and I'm gonna go over them. The production on the theme song is really eerie and atmospheric. The whispering and the violin samples just help it achieve that eerie atmosphere, and I just love it. Dirty Laundry's beat is great, and it fits Danny's personality and vocals incredibly well. It's easily one of my favorite singles and tracks from the album, and just the lyrics are really funny. The cloudy feel of Belly and the Beast fits the unorthodox and absurd nature of the album. His lyrics are definitely the most that of the album. The weird vibe of the production just somehow fits it so well. Savage Nomad's production doesn't change too much throughout the track, but it's just a really nice and chilled out looping beat that I don't know what to say. It's just really solid, it's a really nice beat, great track. Best Life's production has probably got some of my favorite production on the entire album. The samples are amazing, Q-Tip's production is superb, and it's one of my favorite tracks on the album, and just a very, it's a very easygoing and positive track on the album, especially with what the hook's talking about and everything. You Know What I'm Saying has a very jazzy and smooth vibe, and Obongjayar, I probably completely butchered that pronunciation. It really fits his sort of R&B soul type hook, and yeah. Nice Person Spirituals beat is incredibly trippy, and Thundercat's bass on the track is just super sick. It's great. And Shine feels very rough but cloudy at the same time and atmospheric, and it especially works well with Blood Orange's very reverbed and atmospheric hook. Danny Brown's flow and lyrics just show him at probably his most, probably his brightest yet. Compared to Atrocity Exhibition, he's definitely in a much more positive and happy mindset, and It's definitely one of his more, you know, easygoing and feel-good albums to date. Like I said, it was more of a stand-up comedy album than everything. I mean, just look at that cover. How is this in any way similar to Atrocity Exhibition? There's no way. His lyrics are extremely funny sometimes, and straight up absurd on Belly of the Beast. Let's say you're listening to the song and then you just pick up on these lyrics and you can't help but think about these lyrics. It's interesting. It's interesting to say the least. His flow isn't as crazed or out there as Atrocity Exhibition, but I mean, it isn't Atrocity Exhibition. If you're looking for Atrocity Exhibition style flows, then listen to Atrocity Exhibition. The features on the album are pretty good. ELP and Killer Mike from Run the Jewels verses on 3 Tiers are pretty good. Nothing too out of the normal crazy, but not bad. Oh god, not this again. His contributions are really good. His hook on Belly of the Beast is very atmospheric and eerie and kind of adds to the absurd nature of the song that I was talking about before. And it works for some odd reason. And his hook on You Know What I'm Saying is very soulful and jazzy. I like it. JPEG Mafia's hook on Nice Person Spiritual kind of sounds like Pharrell, but I still really like it. I would have loved a verse from it. Imagine JPEG Mafia spinning over Flying Lotus production. Like, I know he did that, but like, imagine a full-on verse. A match made in heaven, I swear to God. There are so many dream collabs that I'd absolutely love, you know, Pusha T and Madlib, A$AP Rock and Madlib, I don't know. And Blood Orange's hook on Shine is very atmospheric and just sounds extremely nice on the track, especially with Standing in the Corner and Paul White's production. I guess the only real negatives I have with the album is some of the tracks aren't too exciting, like Change Up and Combat, but they're still really good tracks, and I think they work great for starting and finishing tracks to the album. They're not bad by any means. And some tracks I think could have offered a little bit more or left a lot to be desired, but that's a very minimal complaint because there are not many tracks that I was really begging for more on. I would have loved a JPEG Mafia verse on Nice Person Spiritual, but I love that track. It's one of my favorites on the album. In conclusion, You Know What I'm Saying is just a really solid and straightforward Danny Brown album. Nothing too out of the norm for him, but still just a highlight for 2018 and definitely a great Danny Brown album. What can I say? It's probably his happiest album yet, his most easygoing, and it might not be too boundary pushing or experimental, but that doesn't matter too heavily since it's not really the focus on the album. It's like trying to call Zoo an experimental trap rap magnum opus. No, it's not. It's just a trap rap album. I mean, it's a great trap rap album that I really love, but, you know, it's like calling Please Please Me by the Beatles a progressive rock masterpiece. Where am I going with this? Anyway, so my score is a 8.5 out of 10. I know I've given a lot of 8 out of 10s in my reviews, but trust me, I've listened to other albums. Alright, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. See ya. Whoa!